Wind howls through its cracks, like distant voices whispering warnings you can't quite understand. You reach the bottom, and before you stands a gate not made of stone or metal, but woven from threads of pure darkness, pulsing faintly with an unnatural rhythm. The moment your fingers graze it, the gate shudders, then parts. You step into the chamber beyond and everything changes. The air is thick, pressing against your skin like oil. At the center of the room floats a sphere of flickering light, held in place by black chains that hum with power. Surrounding it are statues, dozens of them twisted humanoid shapes frozen in agony, mouths open in silent screams. They aren't made of stone. They were people once. Your breath catches, but your body moves forward. You're not here by chance. You felt it from the beginning, something calling you, deeper than instinct, older than memory. The chains twitch. Then one of them snaps. A wave of energy rips through the chamber, hurling you backward. The others barely dodge as a second chain whips free. The sphere flares blinding, searing white, then fractures, leaking tendrils of golden mist that crawl across the floor like searching fingers. You scramble to your feet, weapon ready. From the mist it rises, a figure made of broken light and flickering shadow, with too many limbs and no face. It moves like smoke, faster than thought, and strikes without warning. You dodge left, the air behind you hissing as a claw slices through it. Another strike comes from above you roll, coming up just in time to parry a blow that sends sparks flaring across the chamber. It doesn't make a sound. No breathing, no growling. Just the crackle of energy and the hum of destruction. You fight back. Every strike is met with resistance, but you're learning its rhythm. You duck, feint, drive your blade upward, and it splits the creature's side. A hiss escapes from what might be its throat. It lashes out, catching your shoulder, and you crash against the far wall. Pain blooms, but you felt worse. You drag yourself up and rejoin the fight. The others try to help, but their weapons pass through the creature like smoke. It's reacting only to you. Of course it is. It remembers you. This isn't a guardian, it's a mirror. Every move it makes is one you've made before. Every hesitation is one you've overcome. It is you, or what you would become, if you gave in. You know how to beat it. You stop attacking. You let it strike. You let it come close, too close, until you see the center of its chest, the flickering core pulsing like a dying heartbeat. You focus everything into one movement, a single step, a pivot, a thrust straight into that core. The world explodes. You're not sure if you're falling or flying. Light engulfs you, warm and blinding. And then it's gone. Silence returns. You're lying on your back, staring up at a sky you don't remember entering. The chamber is gone. The creature is gone. And in your hand, your blade now burns with a faint inner glow. The others approach slowly, unsure. But you already know. That wasn't the end. It was a key. Behind you, a wall shifts. The ground beneath your feet trembles. A passage reveals itself, stairs spiraling down into an even darker abyss. Someone whispers, "Do we keep going?" You don't answer. You just start walking, because now you're not afraid of what's below. You're afraid of what's waking up, and it's afraid of you. You don't know what jolts you awake first, the cold sweat sliding down your spine, or the pressure building behind your eyes like something inside you is trying to claw its way out. Your heart is pounding, but not from fear. Not this time. It's anticipation. Something ancient has stirred, and now it's watching. You sit up in bed, drenched and shaking, but your hands are steady, your breath controlled. You remember the dream, not fragmented images, but sharp, clear symbols burned into your mind like brands. A circle of runes, a blade etched in flame, and her eyes. The girl with silver hair standing in a place where light refused to fall. You didn't know her name, but she knew yours. Outside, the morning haze hangs low over the academy grounds, thick like fog, but charged with something more tension, as if the air itself is bracing for impact. You dress quickly, pulling on the standard uniform, fingers brushing over the seams where yesterday's wounds had bled through. They've healed already, not just closed, strengthened. The system inside you, that cursed blessing, was accelerating. You don't know if it's a gift or a trap, but you feel stronger. And you know someone is coming for you soon. You step out, greeted by the hum of whispers. They follow you now, students, teachers, even the guards. Ever since the Crucible trials, you've been under their gaze, a walking anomaly. Most look away when you meet their eyes. Some stare longer, curious, fearful. One or two burn with jealousy. But no one dares to approach. Not yet, until she does. Storm glides across the training hall threshold with her usual effortless grace, like a blade in motion. Her eyes lock onto yours, sharp and unreadable, and for a moment the world blurs. She stops a foot away, arms crossed, tone flat. You felt it too. You nod. Of course you did. That pressure in the air wasn't natural. It was a beacon, a signal, and something out there, something older than the academy, older than the system itself had answered. "Follow me," she says, not asking. You don't hesitate. You move through the back corridors of the eastern wing, places rarely walked by students. The walls change here. Stone gives way to ancient metal, etched in forgotten scripts, long since classified. The hallway leads into a locked vault, where Storm inputs a series of commands into a panel hidden behind a panel. You catch one of the runes glowing faintly on the pad, the same symbol from your dream. The door opens with a hiss of vacuum release, and the light inside is violet, unnatural, cold. The room beyond is not a room, it's a relic chamber. You feel it instantly, the pulse, the thrum of mana so dense it feels like gravity pressing down on your chest. You've never been here before, but your body reacts like it remembers. Storm doesn't speak as she approaches a pedestal in the center. On it lies a box sealed in tempered glass, surrounded by sigils that shimmer and pulse. Inside the box, something black and flickering writhes in slow motion. It looks like smoke, but your instincts scream wrong. "What is that?" you ask, voice rougher than you expect. Storm's reply is a whisper, a fragment of the hollow star. You don't know the name, but your skin reacts as if you do. The temperature in the room drops another 5 degrees, and the thing inside the box seems to pulse once, as if acknowledging you. No, recognizing you. You take a step closer without meaning to, drawn to the thing like gravity. Your breath catches. There's a voice not audible, not language, but rhythm. It vibrates in your bones. Storm puts a hand on your shoulder. Careful. It senses awakenings. You stiffen. Then why bring me here? She doesn't answer, not directly. Instead, she turns to the terminal beside the pedestal and taps in another command. The box glows brighter, the runes shifting. And then a projection flickers into view. Grainy footage, a timestamp from 2 days ago. A figure. Your figure. You're in the training yard, alone. Except you aren't. Around you, faint distortions ripples in the air, as if space itself were resisting you. The figure in the video lifts a hand, and a tear opens midair. Something looks back through it, and then it vanishes. That's not just system manipulation, Storm says. That's boundary crossing. You feel your mouth go dry. You don't remember doing this, and yet, watching it, there's no denying it's you. The hollow star reacts to entities like you, she says, quieter now. You're not just syncing with the Academy's system. You're syncing with something beyond it. You back away from the pedestal. You're shaking. Not from weakness, from resonance. "What do you want from me?" you ask. Storm meets your eyes, and for the first time, you see doubt there. Not fear, not control, doubt. "I don't know," she admits, "but the headmaster does." You freeze. The headmaster, Warden Vale, hadn't spoken to you directly since the Crucible. His silence had been protection or punishment. But now, if he was calling you, what does he want? Storm hesitates. To decide what you are, and if you're meant to survive what's coming. You breathe once, slow and sharp. Every instinct screams that this isn't just a meeting. It's a test. One you don't fully understand, and one you cannot afford to fail. You nod. Then, let's go. The corridors leading to the headmaster's sanctum aren't part of the public academy layout. You're not sure they were ever meant for footsteps like yours. The air turns metallic, sharp with old mana, and the lights here pulse with a dim, reddish hum as if the walls are breathing. Storm walks ahead, silent but alert. You feel it too. A presence, watching, not one being but many, layered, observing not just your body but your intentions. The door at the end of the corridor isn't a door at all. It's a gate carved from obsidian, etched with ancient runes that swirl the longer you stare. They don't wait for your permission. The runes slide apart and the gate opens inward with a sigh. Inside, the room feels like a storm locked inside a bottle still on the surface, chaotic beneath. You step in and the pressure hits instantly. It's not pain, but weight, a challenge, an invitation. Warden Vale stands at the far end, a silhouette framed by an unnatural glow pouring in through a hexagonal skylight. He doesn't turn as you enter. His voice meets you first. You've crossed a boundary. You hesitate, but only for a breath. I didn't know I had. You turn slowly. Your eyes are colder now, sharper, focused, not angry, calculating. You opened a tear during training, the voice says. Unregistered, uncontrolled. You made something look back. You want to deny it, but after what you saw in the vault, the lie gets stuck in your throat. I didn't mean to. Intent doesn't matter. Power answers power, whether called or not. You feel heat rise up your neck, not shame, but resistance. You didn't ask to become a beacon. You didn't ask to wake up like this, but you're not about to apologize for surviving. The figure steps forward. What do you feel when it happens? The question catches you off guard. Not what you did, but what you feel. You search for words. Like something familiar. Like something's calling back. They study you. You realize it's not judgment, it's careful concern. The kind of concern people hide behind rules and protocols. Then, we need to speed up the rites, the voice says. Another voice flinches. It's too soon. They might break him. He's already breaking, the first voice replies quietly. The others won't wait. If we delay, we lose him. You interrupt before the argument continues. What rites? Reluctantly, the second voice explains. There are 7 phases of binding. Most go through them over a year, with full preparation. You'll do them in a week. Your gut tightens. What if I fail? No hesitation. Then, whatever's watching you takes your place. Silence stretches. You feel it. This isn't a test. It's a countdown. You exhale. When do I start? The sigils on the walls flare to life. Now. The ground shifts. A platform beneath your feet releases with a hiss, and suddenly you're descending into the depths. Stone becomes iron. Light fades. You're swallowed by the chamber made for transformation. The descent feels endless. Only the grinding of gears echoes a slow, steady groan, like ancient bones stirring. The platform vibrates under your boots. The air growing colder, not just the temperature, but the energy. It's like diving into a frozen current that resists every heartbeat. Your skin prickles. The pulse in your throat quickens. This isn't another training simulation. It's something ritualized. You taste the difference in the air like old blood and forgotten promises. The platform stops with a jolt. You step off. The door ahead groans open. Beyond it lies a hall of mirrors, not glass, but obsidian panels, each perfectly reflective. The ceiling disappears into darkness. The floor is a black void lit only by flickering runes on the walls. You're alone. No one followed. Your voice echoes faintly when you call out, but the space swallows it. The reflections shift not in sync with you, but delayed, disjointed. In one, your eyes glow faintly when they shouldn't. You step forward, the runes flare, casting fractured light dancing across the mirrors. A voice fills the chamber not spoken, but vibrating directly inside your mind. Ancient, metallic, emotionless. Phase 1, disjunction. Your pulse jumps. You've read about it, a rite designed to break the self, stripping illusion and ego to prepare the vessel. Few undergo it directly. Most experience diluted simulations. But you're not most. The mirrors ripple. Suddenly, the reflections begin to speak not words, but fragments, images, flashes, sounds. Your old failures, your regrets, your fears. You see the face of your brother burned into memory. His scream when you let go. Your hands stained red. The look in your mother's eyes the day you left. The laughter of those who watched you fail again and again. Then, something worse. Your reflection stands above them all, drenched in victory but hollow. No one left. No cheers. Just power and the silence it brings. You wanted this. The voice inside sneers. You still do. You clench your fists, but your body won't move. You're not paralyzed. You're held. The mirrors close in. Each step forward, the chamber resists. The energy inside twists your perception, making the lies seem like truth. It's not enough to show pain. It wants you to own it. A mirror flickers, and for a moment, you see yourself not as you are, but as something monstrous. Horns, fire in your veins, eyes like a predator. A version of you that never stopped becoming what the system wanted. That didn't care who broke along the way. This is what you'll become if you continue. But you don't flinch. You stare into it, chest heaving. If that's what it takes to protect what's mine, so be it. The mirror shatters. It doesn't fall. It explodes. Mana erupts outward in a ring of violet sparks, and the chamber shakes. The rest of the mirrors react, humming like an awakened hive. The voice returns. Phase 1, complete. You drop to your knees as the mana backlash hits. It doesn't harm you, but it changes something. Your body feels heavier, denser, as if it absorbed a shard of that ancient force and now must carry it. Your hands tremble as you stand, not from weakness, from the weight of awareness. Whatever this ritual is meant to do, it's not just about syncing you with power. It's about preparing you to hold something far worse. You stagger toward the far end of the chamber. Another gate waits. This one is simpler. Just a slab of stone etched in a single rune, the same one you saw in the vault. The hollow star. As you approach, it begins to glow. It recognizes you again, but this time you don't pause. You press your hand to the symbol, and the gate opens with a slow grinding sigh. You step forward. And phase 2 begins. The second chamber is colder. Not in temperature, but in presence. The air here doesn't move. It waits, heavy, watching. You step through the threshold, and instantly the gate vanishes behind you, not closed, gone. No going back. This room is circular, walled in seamless obsidian. No mirrors this time. Just darkness and runes glowing faintly on the floor in concentric rings. Each pulse is timed to your heartbeat. or perhaps the heartbeat is no longer yours. Phase 2, integration, says the voice, colder than before. You brace yourself. You've heard rumors of this trial. It's meant to imprint the system deeper, not just into your body, but your mind, your instincts. It tests what cannot be trained. Will, identity, alignment. The runes flicker and your feet lock into place. Not trapped, but magnetized. Your breath catches as invisible tendrils of mana snake up your spine. Through your nerves, into your skull. You're not being tested anymore. You're being rewritten. Your knees lock. You clench your jaw, but a scream still escapes your throat as the sensation spikes not pain, but redefinition. It's like someone is sifting through your memories, sorting them, marking some for deletion. No, you won't let them. You push back, instinctively, but it only strengthens the feedback. The system flares, burning heat surges behind your eyes. You see flashes, not visions edits. In one, you're kneeling, loyal, obedient, a pawn. In another, you're brutal, ruthless, a warlord. Then you see yourself walking calmly through fire, untouched, watching others burn. And for a terrifying moment, you feel proud. You fight the image, push it away. But then something twists. You see yourself as you are now torn, doubting, resisting everything. And the system doesn't reject it. It records it. And then you realize, this trial isn't to force you into a mold. It's to see who you really are when nothing else can lie. A rush of mana engulfs you, surging through your limbs. Your body convulses, but you don't collapse. You channel it, not because it's painless, but because you refuse to break. The rings of light around you begin to spin, faster, brighter. Symbols appear midair, binding sigils, ancestral glyphs, language too old to name. They encircle your chest, your wrists, your spine. But instead of locking you down, they settle into you. And suddenly, clarity. You feel your core align. The chaos doesn't leave, but it organizes. You still don't know what you are. But now, neither does the system, and that gives you power. You exhale, slow and controlled. You move your hand and the light follows. Not forced, responsive. The chamber dims again. Phase 2, complete, says the voice. But there's no relief, not yet. A new sound rises deep, mechanical, primal. From the far wall, something begins to emerge. First a claw, then a hunched form. Metal limbs twisted around bone. Not an illusion, not a vision. This time, it's real, a guardian beast. One of the ancient constructs buried beneath the academy, unleashed only during core rituals. And it's looking directly at you. Its eyes glow the same violet as the hollow star. And you understand, as your heartbeat accelerates, Phase 3 isn't a trial. It's a fight for survival. The Guardian doesn't roar, it has no need for dramatics. The sound it makes is worse. A grinding subsonic rumble that vibrates through the chamber like tectonic plates shifting beneath your feet. It travels through your bones, dull and nauseating. The kind of resonance that doesn't just echo, it consumes. You lock your stance, every muscle in your body coiled tight. Not because you expect to overpower it, but because running isn't even on the table. This isn't a test of technique or speed. It's an assessment of your threshold of how much truth your body and mind can hold before they splinter apart. The creature before you is an abomination of old-world metal fused with something much worse. Living mana hardened into skeletal machinery. Its joints are reversed, arms twitching like snapped clockwork. And its spine is a jagged ridge of runes pulsing faintly with the color of blood diluted in oil. It doesn't move like a beast. It stutters, vanishes, and reappears mid-motion, as if reality itself hesitates to carry it forward. When it charges, the attack comes without warning or hesitation. One instant, it's still. The next, it's lunging across the room. Claws slicing downward in a blur of rusted steel and burning energy. You don't dodge cleanly, no one could. Its claw grazes your side, tearing through the edge of your uniform and lighting your nerves on fire as you roll hard across the floor, teeth clenched to suppress the sound that wants to rip from your throat. But even through the haze of pain, your instincts ignite. Your palms slap the floor as you rise, already drawing on the system etched into your bones. The runes carved into your body flare with purpose, not just raw power, but reflexive coordination. Your speed triples. Your grip tightens. Your breathing synchronizes with something deeper than oxygen. You duck under the second swipe and strike low, palm infused with redirected force. The Guardian doesn't stop in time. Your hit connects beneath its center of balance, right where the mechanical joint meets exposed mana. It stumbles not by much, but enough to register. That's all the proof you need. It can be hurt, but it can also adapt. The tail comes next, a sweeping blur that catches you mid-step and launches you across the room like a rag doll. Your back hits the chamber wall hard, knocking the breath from your lungs. Ribs strain but don't crack. You slide down, coughing red into your sleeve. Still alive, still standing, and still burning. You push to your feet again, this time slower, every nerve thrumming with pressure. The system inside you whispers new variables, angles, charge levels, heat readings from the Guardian's shifting plates. You follow none of them directly. You don't need a blueprint. You need resolve. The creature rushes again, and this time you don't flinch. You catch its arm mid-swing, your fingers locking against metal that burns on contact. The runes along your forearms pulse once, then activate in full. The power you gathered from Phase 2 channels through you in a perfect arc. You twist with all your weight. Its own momentum flips it sideways, slamming its bulk into the wall with a shockwave of stone and cracked mana. The explosion of force rattles through your bones, but you stay upright, balanced on instinct alone. Dust rains from above. Your vision blurs, but you don't look away. The Guardian is already rising from the debris, slower now, hunched lower, eyes glowing brighter than before. There's no damage to its body you can see, no blood or leaking systems, but its posture has shifted. It's not attacking anymore with the mindless violence of a summoned beast. It's studying you, mocking you. It tilts its head just slightly, like a curious predator sizing up prey that somehow fought back longer than expected. The expression is emotionless, mechanical and still. It burns with silent contempt. You clench your fists, feeling the weight of exhaustion behind every muscle. Your limbs are slower, your breathing is uneven. Blood drips steadily down your side, soaking into the waistband of your uniform. But you're not done. You can't be done. The chamber pulses. The red hue of the walls deepens to crimson. The floor heats beneath your feet. The fight enters its final movement. The Guardian charges again, and you meet it, not because it's wise, but because there's no other choice. Fist meets claw, runes meet fang. You twist, deflect, absorb, and redirect. The motions blur. Every strike from the beast scrapes away another layer of control, but every movement from you is earned, raw, desperate, and real. There's no rhythm, only survival. And then, silence. The beast stops mid-lunge. Not wounded, not defeated, simply still. The voice returns, dispassionate and calm. Phase 3, complete. You freeze in place, waiting for the catch for some final trick, but the Guardian slowly retracts. Its body begins to disintegrate into smoke laced with runes, as if never meant to exist beyond the fight itself. It dissolves without noise, and the oppressive weight in the air begins to lift. You drop to one knee, not out of failure, but from the sheer pressure of what your body just endured. You're shaking, blood loss, fatigue, stress. It's all crashing down now. Your fingers dig into the stone floor just to remind yourself you're still here. Storm's footsteps echo in the distance before she steps fully into view. Her expression is unreadable, but something in her gaze has shifted. Less scrutiny, more recognition. She stands over you, voice quiet. Most would have died. You look up at her, breath still ragged, but your spine straightens. You don't speak. You don't need to, because you're still alive, and that says more than words ever could. But deep in your chest, you know it's not over. This was just the midpoint. And the real war is coming next. They don't give you time to recover. The moment your blood dries against your skin, the chamber shifts beneath you again. The floor splits into segments and descends in sections, tilting and reconfiguring the space around your body like a collapsing puzzle box. The air shifts from red to deep indigo, and the walls pulse with low vibrations that sync with your breath. Another trial is coming. You brace yourself instinctively, still aching from the battle with the Guardian. But something in this space feels different, less hostile, not safer, just quieter, like walking into the eye of a storm. Then you see her. Not Storm, not an instructor, not any human you recognize. She stands at the far end of the room, barefoot, her hair like liquid silver cascading down her back. Her presence radiates familiarity, though you've never met her. You know her face from your dream, the one that came before this spiral began. Her eyes are the same, unblinking, ancient, judging. The voice returns, not the cold, mechanical one from the previous trials. This one is warmer, older, female. Phase 4, echo. You inhale slowly. Your body is exhausted, but your mind sharpens. The silver-haired figure doesn't speak, but her gaze begins to burn into you, and with it, the chamber awakens. The walls shimmer, and suddenly the entire room is memory. Not illusion, not projection, memory yours. You're no longer standing in the trial room. You're in the ruins of the old city, the place where you first unlocked the system. The shattered buildings, the distant screams, the smoke curling into a sky that hadn't seen sun in days. You remember what happened here. You remember who died here. A figure appears in front of you, your brother, just as he was. Young, proud, defiant. He looks at you like nothing's changed, but you know what comes next. You remember the way the explosion ripped through the chamber behind you, the firestorm that swallowed everything. You remember failing to protect him. Only this time, the memory doesn't play itself out. It waits. You stare at him, throat dry, heart pounding in your ears. You step forward and he mirrors the movement. No judgment in his eyes, just expectation. Phase 4, the voice continues, is not to relive your past. It is to rewrite it. You flinch, because what they're asking is impossible. But you also understand what it means. You raise your hand and the memory around you slows. The system responds. Your energy spirals outward, touching the edge of the illusion. And suddenly, you're back in that moment, the very one where you failed. Only this time you move differently. You don't shout for him to run. You charge. You intercept the blast before it consumes the chamber. Your body burns, but you shield him with the system pulsing at full resonance. The wall of flame hits you head on, and it bends. Your brother lives. The memory rewrites, and the moment seals itself into your core like a shard of truth. The scene dissolves, and you're standing in the chamber again, knees buckling as the system recalibrates. That wasn't just emotional, it was physical. Your mana signature has shifted. Your pain has been transformed into something far more volatile clarity. The silver-haired woman tilts her head slightly. Her eyes no longer glow. She steps back, vanishing into the walls. But the trial isn't finished. Not yet. The chamber darkens again, and another memory rises. This time, it's her, your mother. You remember this day too well. The arguments, the silence, the moment you chose to walk away from your family, chasing power instead of protecting what remained. Her face was unreadable then. Now it is focused with laser intensity. You wanted freedom, the voice says. So the system gave you chains. You don't flinch. You accept what you see, but you don't repeat it. This time, instead of walking away, you speak. Not loudly, not perfectly, but honestly. You tell her what you never had the courage to say. That you weren't ready. That fear made you cruel. That ambition wasn't the reason, it was the excuse. And her expression changes. Not into a smile, not into forgiveness, but into understanding. That's all it takes. The memory folds into you once again, and this time, you feel it settle deeper. Not pain, not shame, alignment. You stagger as the system locks something new into place. Your energy flares, stabilizing, not expanding, but concentrating. You're not just becoming stronger, you're becoming sharper. The chamber pulses once more. This time, the walls do not shift. Instead, a single line glows beneath your feet, leading forward. The voice, softer now, concludes the trial. Phase 4, complete. You don't speak. You just walk forward. The path beneath your feet doesn't lead anywhere visible. It coils forward like a strip of illuminated thought, cutting through a black void that stretches beyond logic. You can't tell if you're walking through space, memory, or something in between. Every step sounds distant, as if you're not walking on stone anymore, but across threads of time spun too thin to support anything human. Then, without transition, you're inside another room. This chamber is taller than the rest, the ceiling lost in shadow. The air hangs heavy, charged with static. Every breath crackles slightly against your throat. You scan the walls, no runes, no symbols, only tall obelisks of polished obsidian standing at precise intervals in a perfect circle, each one humming with suppressed energy. You're not alone. 3 figures wait inside, not illusions, not constructs, people. You recognize one instantly, Storm, silent as ever, standing off to the side with her arms crossed. Her presence is unreadable, her eyes sharp but distant. She doesn't speak. The second figure is new, but unmistakable in presence, an older man with eyes like forged steel and a cloak that carries the weight of rank. His aura presses against your skin like invisible armor. Warden Vale. The third figure is cloaked entirely, face obscured, but you feel the heat radiating from them like a low burning star. Whoever they are, they don't need to be introduced. Power recognizes power. Before you can speak, the system chimes in your mind. Phase 5, opposition. Your breath stills. You've heard of this one. Not a test of endurance, not of memory, not of control. Combat against a chosen adversary. One who reflects your greatest flaw. Vale steps forward, not with aggression, but command. You've survived the fragments. You've aligned the self, but you haven't yet faced the cost of your ambition. His voice carries no malice, but there's finality in every syllable. The system doesn't trust those who cannot be outmatched. You clench your fists, body tensing. You're sending someone to kill me? You ask. No, he says. We're sending someone to show you how you fail. The cloaked figure steps forward, hands still at their sides, and then, with a simple motion, they pull back the hood. You stop breathing, because you're looking at yourself. Not a reflection, not a memory. You as you might have become. Taller, stronger, scarred, radiating the kind of terrifying calm that only comes from absolute conviction. This version of you bears the system's full mark, runic veins glowing dimly, every motion precise. You know immediately they've completed what you're still chasing. This is who you might become if you sacrificed hesitation, if you cut out empathy, if you let yourself be forged entirely by power, with no chains to hold you back. And now you have to fight them. No rules, no boundaries, just collision. They move first. You barely block the opening strike, an elbow crashing toward your throat. You twist, counter, launch a kick that gets caught midair. They use the momentum to spin you off your feet and slam you to the ground. The impact knocks the air from your lungs. You roll and recover, pain igniting across your ribs. They're faster, stronger, more disciplined, but they're also you, which means they have your weaknesses too. Somewhere beneath that perfect exterior is the same buried pain, the same fragmented origin. You charge again, pushing your system to maximum sync. The chamber becomes a blur of movement, explosive punches, low sweeps, mana-infused strikes. Sparks fly as your fists collide, as energy burns through the soles of your feet. The air warps around you, thick with power backlash. Still, they anticipate every move. They are everything you could become if you chose power alone. And that's the difference. You don't want to win like that, so you change the rhythm. Instead of matching power with power, you shift drop low, beta strike, then feint left and hit with a palm strike directly over the heart. It lands. Their body falters just slightly, eyes flashing in confusion. You saw it. Doubt. You press the advantage. Not with strength, but with unpredictability, fighting not like a system-trained warrior, but like someone who survived before they ever got power. You remember the street fights, the hunger, the pain, and you draw from all of it. You're not cleaner, you're not faster, but you're wilder. And for the first time, your future self is forced to retreat a step. You don't give them time to recover, you strike again, mixing attacks that would be considered reckless in any formal duel. But they aren't reckless for you, they're earned. The final blow lands with both fists driving upward into their chest. The force lifts them half an inch from the ground, and their body dissolves into shards of light, scattered like ash on wind. The chamber goes silent. Storm steps forward. She doesn't say anything, but her nod is small and real. Warden Vale watches you, impassive. Then, finally, he speaks. You didn't win because you were stronger. You breathe deep, chest still heaving. No, you say. I won because I refused to become him. The room dims, the obelisks lower, and the voice inside you speaks again. Phase 5, complete. The elevator shaft locks into place with a hiss, and the metal doors grind open. You're no longer underground. The sky above is a storm waiting to break low clouds bruised purple and gray, lit by flashes of energy that crawl across the skyline. Wind howls over the edge of the rooftop platform, whipping your blood-stained uniform against your body. You step forward, boots landing on stone etched with the Academy's oldest seal, half erased by time. This is the top of the sanctum, the place where students never go, and where those who survive the rites are remade. You're not alone. 3 instructors wait for you, standing in a semicircle. Storm is one of them, arms folded, jaw tight. Beside her is Warden Vale, watching you with that same unreadable cold. But it's the third figure who draws your full attention. She wears no badge, no uniform, just a battle coat layered in reinforced leather, scarred from real use. Her presence cuts through the others like a blade. Her eyes don't inspect you. They measure you like an asset, a weapon. She steps forward. You've survived what should have killed you 5 times over, she says. You're still standing. That means you're eligible. You narrow your eyes. Eligible for what? Her tone doesn't change. Deployment. Your stomach drops. No ceremony, no congratulations. No time to process what you've become. The moment you pass the final rite, you're no longer a student. You're a tool. She tosses a heavy data core onto the ground between you. It flashes red. 10 hours ago, an extraction team was wiped out in the hollow expanse. No trace, no comms. One survivor managed to trigger a distress rune. That rune reacted to you. You step closer. Me? Yes, Vale says. We didn't understand it until your system signature changed during Phase 4. Whatever's out there, it doesn't just recognize the archive. It's linked to the same force you drew on. Storm speaks next, her voice lower than before. This isn't training. If you go, you're going in live. No backup, no resets. If you die out there, we won't recover the body. Your throat tightens, but you don't look away. Not from the data core, not from them. Why me? You ask. The woman in the coat smiles, and for once, it's not cruel. Because you didn't break, she says. And because you're not afraid to fight something that might. You say nothing for a beat. Then you reach down and pick up the data core. It's cold to the touch, humming softly like it already knows where you're going. Storm steps closer, almost hesitant. Before you decide, she says, you should know. That signal, it wasn't just a distress call. You look at her. It was a message. She pulls out a data slate and loads the decrypted signal. A short burst of static clears. Then you hear a voice, one you know, barely a whisper, strained and broken. Still alive. Don't let them shut it. It's not a rift. It's a prison. It's waking up. The feed cuts. Your heart stops. Because that voice didn't belong to a stranger. It was your brother. And he was supposed to be dead. You look up at them, fire roaring back into your limbs, pain forgotten. When do I leave? The woman nods once. Now. A transport ship screeches overhead, descending through the storm. You move toward the landing zone without waiting for permission. This isn't a trial anymore. This is war, and you're ready to bring it to whatever the system failed to contain. Because you finally understand what this place is trying to teach you. Before you can survive what's ahead, you must own what came before. The lift opens without a sound. You step into the chamber, boots sinking slightly into dust that shouldn't exist in a facility this clean. The lights hum overhead, pale and clinical, casting long shadows over the polished walls. You know this space not from memory, but from instinct, as if your body's already mapped out the danger it contains. It isn't an arena designed for sport. It's a precision kill box with enough clearance to hide the truth behind protocol. The other candidate is already inside. He doesn't move when you enter. He just stands there, arms relaxed, posture neutral, his gaze fixed somewhere on the far wall, like he's not surprised to see you, like he was expecting it. You stay silent, assessing its wraith. You never knew his real name. No one did. But he earned that name the same way everyone does in this place through action, not introduction. He moved like mist, fought like a clean algorithm, and never left a trace of doubt behind him. Reliable, silent, efficient. You respected that. Might have even trusted him once. Not here. This room isn't built for trust. It's a crucible. It only wants outcomes. He turns to face you, calm as ever. No anger, just that analytical stare he wore during drills. You keep your hand near your sidearm, not hostile, just aware. I figured it'd be you, he says. No heat, no accusation. You don't answer. You both know what this room means. No explanation needed. He shifts slightly. Not a threat, just testing. We don't have to go through with this. We could work around it, fake the results, trick the system. You shake your head. Vitals are tracked. Then we forge those too. Nindak. You study him. He looks relaxed, but you know better. He's already run the angles same as you. This isn't about skill, you say. It's about obedience. They're not watching who wins. No, just who follows through. He lowers his gaze, then lifts it again. Still hoped we could both walk out. You meet his eyes. That's not what this room is for. The silence sharpens. The air hums. Your pulse steadies not from peace, but readiness. You're not going to hold back, are you? No. His shoulders dip not in fear, but in understanding. All right, he murmurs. Then he moves. Quick. Clean. Faster than training ever showed. You're ready. Blade half drawn as his first strike cuts through air. You sidestep, the edge grazing fabric instead of flesh. He recovers fast. Goes again. Calculated. Restrained. He's still pulling his hits. That's his mistake. You don't. Your counter hits center mass controlled, but decisive. He grunts, spins low, sweeps wide. You absorb the impact, boot sliding, body grounded. No hesitation, no pause, just rhythm and resolve. He's trying not to lose. You're here to end it. You drive him back, blow by blow, every motion tighter, more precise. He's deflecting now, not attacking, reading your moves, trying to keep pace. But you see it. He knows. He's already losing. You feint, close distance, break rhythm. He falters. One strike perfect placement disarms him. The blade drops, his stance cracks. You press in. No wasted movement. No sound but breath and footsteps. He drops to a knee, gaze fixed on yours. Clear, resigned. They never meant for both of us to leave, he says softly. No. They wanted to see who'd finish it. You don't respond. There's nothing left to explain. He shuts his eyes. Then do it. A breath in. No weight. No doubt. Your motion is clean, centered, purposeful. He exhales. Stillness. The chamber lights shift. Red fades to white. A confirmation tone hums quietly. The lock disengages. You stand. The blade lowers. No adrenaline. No triumph. Just completion. You turn away, no glance back. His choice was made. So was yours. Now the system has what it wanted. You step through the open doorway. No fanfare, no reward, only access. Your pace is even, shoulders squared, breathing calm. This isn't about glory. It never was. It's about survival, and you've always known how to do that. You step forward and the air changes. Not colder by temperature, but colder in intention. The silence here isn't empty. It's controlled, clean, too clean. No flickering lights, no hum of machinery, no security sensors blinking in red. Just stillness. Like whatever waits ahead doesn't want to scare you. It wants to study you. No cameras, no obvious eyes. But you don't feel alone, just unmeasured. Like they've stopped collecting data. Now they're watching for something else, your choices. You walk carefully, each footstep echoing against sterile tile. 30 meters in, the corridor curves opening into a circular vault. Same seamless floors, same sterile air. A faint metallic tang hangs in your throat. At the center stands a sealed chamber, 3 meters tall, no visible entrance. Smooth surface, broken only by deep, jagged claw marks etched across one side. Not decorative, made by force either by something trying to get out, or something that was never supposed to be in. You circle it. No panel, no latch, no seams, just purpose. And something older than design. Then you hear it. Soft, slow, breathing, not machinery, not pipes, real, organic. Your stance shifts without thought. One hand inches toward your weapon, not drawn, just ready. Then the chamber opens. No alarms, no light, no system prompt, just a whisper of air. And then you see her. She stands alone at the center, silent, watching. At first, you think she's another candidate, another face. But then you notice the details. No uniform, no ID, no rank. Just faint glowing lines tracing the side of her neck. A glint in one eye, mechanical, augmented, but not standard issue. Not from this program. Her gaze never leaves yours. You keep your voice steady. State your designation. Her voice is quiet, but clear. I'm not in your records. You hold position. That's not an answer. She tilts her head slightly. You're not here for answers. She's not aggressive, not armed. But everything in you says she doesn't need a weapon. She is one. I've seen your track, she says. You moved fast, no stumbles. You've been monitoring me? I was told to expect you. Your attention sharpens. Expect me for what? She doesn't flinch. The ones who survive this far aren't tested anymore. They're filtered. Filtered for what? She steps forward, calm, measured, to obey, or to act. You stare. You defected. No, I failed, she says. They built me to follow. I didn't. That made me unstable. And unstable assets don't survive here. But you're still alive. She nods. Because the system needs people like you to decide what happens to people like me. Behind you, the door seals shut with a soft hiss. You don't turn. You already know. This isn't a trial, it's a choice. If I walk away, I follow. And if I don't, she shrugs. You live longer, but not better. Her gaze holds yours. Still, waiting, you could act, strike, end it, but you don't. Because for the first time in this place, it doesn't feel like a test of skill. It feels like a test of intent. You lower your stance just slightly, just enough. She notices. She nods once. Good, she says. Then you're ready. Behind her, the wall vibrates. A new path opens. Not because you passed, not because you won, but because you chose. And someone is still watching. Not from cameras, from inside the infrastructure itself. You follow her down a corridor that wasn't there before. Not on the maps, not in your training. It wasn't even visible when you entered the vault, just a blank wall behind the pod, disguised as a structural buffer. But now it's open, lit by soft, ambient strips recessed into the floor. No markings, no signage. Like the system wants to guide you, but won't explain where to. She walks ahead of you without looking back, as if she knows the path. As if she's walked it before. You match her pace, scanning the corridor as you move. The walls here are different, darker alloy, almost black. A material you haven't seen in the rest of the facility. It absorbs sound, even light, making your own breathing feel louder than it should. After 50 meters, the hallway opens into a chamber. Not large, not intimidating. Just wrong. The geometry isn't symmetrical. The ceiling bends at an angle that forces your eyes to correct constantly. The floor slopes gently downward, not enough to trip you, just enough to unsettle. And in the center, there's a console. It looks ancient, nothing like the interface terminals you've trained on. Its frame is composite steel, but worn, as if it predates every other system in this compound. It hums with power, but faintly, like it's been dormant for too long and only now stirred awake. She finally stops, turning to face you. This is where they stopped watching. You don't speak. You're already listening harder than usual. She continues, stepping beside the console. Every test you've passed so far, every kill, every calculation, every split-second decision was designed to bring you here. Not to reward you, to make you useful. To what? She gestures toward the console. To reactivation. The screen flares to life at her touch. Not with commands, with fragments, video, sound, logs, memories pulled from old files and corrupted backups. Some of the faces you recognize former candidates, others are strangers. All of them died during selection. This system is older than the current protocols, she says. It was built for something else before the directorate repurposed it, before they started calling us candidates. Back then, they used different terms. You focus on one of the video loops. It shows a chamber smaller than the one you fought Wraith in. There's a body on the ground, limbs twisted, head burned out from neural overload. A voice echoes softly through the feed. This unit is compromised. Termination complete. Asset failed assimilation. The video ends. You turn toward her. What is this? She watches the flickering console. The truth. They're not choosing leaders, they're testing vessels, trying to see who can survive long enough to be rewritten. Your jaw tightens. What do they rewrite us into? She doesn't answer immediately, just walks to the side panel and pulls back a shielding layer. Underneath is something grotesque, an exposed neural grid, fused directly into the alloy. Living tissue suspended in containment gel, pulsing. They thought they could interface raw cognition into command systems, she says. Run strategies through living minds, faster than any AI, more adaptive than any code. And you? I was one of the first. They implanted me before the stabilizers were finished. I survived. Others didn't. You don't move, don't speak, because there's no outrage, just clarity. They weren't testing your loyalty. They were building a library of minds durable enough to be turned into tools. And you've passed every test so far. She looks at you now, not with sympathy, but with expectation. You can still walk away. Pretend none of this matters. Go back into the trial rooms. Keep killing the next problem they put in front of you. Or I stay, you finish, voice low. She nods. And you learn what comes after surviving. The console flares again. One of the feeds shows your own face from earlier today, staring down Wraith, making your choice. They're not gods, she says. They're just engineers. And their greatest fear is that one of us sees through the design. You look at the exposed neural grid again, the twitching pulse in the gel. It's not about breaking the system anymore. It's about deciding whether you want to become the next one. You don't answer her right away. The air feels different in here, thicker somehow. Not physically, but mentally, like you've stepped out of an environment that rewards action and into one that punishes thought. The weight of all the footage behind you, the terminated candidates, the corrupted memory logs, the twitching organic network buried beneath steel it presses in. Not just as data, as proof. Proof that you've never been free. She watches you, still calm, still silent. You can't tell if she's waiting for your decision or if she already knows what you'll do. But either way, she gives you the time. Maybe that's the real test. You turn back to the console. It's still flickering through archival feed. Most of it degraded, but the core visuals are intact execution footage, shutdown commands, neurosync failures. None of it designed for your eyes. All of it logged anyway. Someone thought this was worth keeping. You wonder if that someone is still alive. Can it be shut down? You ask, not turning to face her. She doesn't answer immediately. Then, not from here. This room isn't a kill switch, it's a lens. A lens for what? To show you who built the system and why you were never meant to survive it. You stare at the data for a moment longer, then reach forward. Not to shut it off, just to confirm it's real. Your hand touches the surface, and the screen responds not with resistance, but recognition. Lines of code flash across it, in a language you've only seen in the deepest, oldest archives. A construct syntax, used before public directives were standardized, the kind of code they erased from records after declaring AI governance obsolete. She steps closer, not intruding, just clarifying. You were trained for leadership, but what they're looking for is continuity. They want someone whose body can handle command, and whose mind they can overwrite. You look at her. Why tell me this? You could have walked away, could have stayed hidden in the lower systems. Let the cycle play out. Because I'm tired of being proof. The answer is quiet, too quiet, and real. You realize then this isn't a trap, not a manipulation. She's not here to lure you into rebellion. She's already done it. And she's offering you the last piece. Awareness. Your hand drops from the console. The screen dims slightly, like it knows you've made your choice. So what now? You ask. She turns and walks to the far side of the chamber. A wall you hadn't noticed begins to shift. Metal plates retract into themselves, revealing a glass tunnel lined with pulse light threads. It hums, alive but controlled. This leads to the archive nexus, she says. It's not part of your route. You won't be logged if you go in, not officially. You study the entrance. It looks like a vent shaft, but reinforced. Meant to be invisible, meant to be used by people not authorized to exist. Once I go in, you ask, what am I? She meets your gaze without hesitation. A variable. You nod slowly. No fear, no defiance. Just the clean, quiet realization that you've stepped off the map. Then you walk. The glass tunnel adjusts as you move, light bands flickering to life beneath your boots. You feel the faint buzz of internal scanners pinging your vitals, not an aggression, just acknowledgement. This part of the facility isn't defensive. It's curious. Halfway through the tunnel, the atmosphere changes. The air cools. Not in temperature, but presence. You feel like you're walking into memory, like the walls have seen every betrayal, every death, every reprogrammed mind that never made it out, and still you move forward. At the tunnel's end, a chamber opens. This one is different. No metal, no tech, just obsidian glass from floor to ceiling. Embedded within it faces, not reflections, not statues, faces, preserved impressions, frozen in mid-expression, pain, rage, clarity, as if each of them, at some point, had the same realization you just did and paid for it with everything. You walk among them. They don't blink, don't move. But you can feel their eyes, not judging, warning. At the far wall, another terminal glows. Simple, ancient, not locked. You step toward it and place your hand on the plate. The system doesn't resist. A voice speaks, not hers, not yours, not human. Candidate accepted. Reintegration begins. You should pull back, but you don't, because now it's not about survival anymore. It's about insertion, and for the first time, you're not being tested, you're being trusted. The console accepts your touch without a password, bypassing all known credentials. The screen flares to life, not with text, but with pulses of light arranged in a sequence you somehow understand without decoding. It's instinctive, like remembering a language you were never taught. Behind you, the vault seals itself, not with force, but finality. You're no longer a visitor. This space has made you part of its structure. Across the obsidian walls, the embedded faces begin to fade. Their outlines blur into shadow, as if your presence has released them, or overwritten them. The system doesn't want redundancy. You're here now. You're enough. The voice returns. Neural sync initializing. Begin confirmation scan. You don't respond verbally. You don't need to. The console begins pulling biofeedback directly from your body. Pulse, core temp, cortex rhythm. It all floods into the interface like you've been wired into it from the moment you arrived. You expected resistance, pain, static. But what you feel is alignment. The system isn't fighting you. It's accommodating you. Across the chamber, a panel opens in the wall. Not with noise, but with precision. It reveals a stairwell, not mechanical. Carved, ancient. Like it was made before the rest of the compound was even conceptualized. You glance back once at the now dormant console. Its glow recedes slowly, like a breath held in. Then you move. The stairs spiral down. The air shifts as you descend colder, thicker, tinged with something chemical. Not toxic, just unfamiliar, like you're breathing in a part of history that was never meant to be touched again. You reach the bottom. It's not a room. It's a vault within the system, a relic core, buried under layers of disuse and secrecy. You recognize none of the architecture. Stone melded with alloy, runes etched into the walls beside access panels, a hybrid of ancient and synthetic, purposefully fused. And at the center, a chair. Not for rest, not for command, for interface. You step toward it, and that's when you hear the hum. It's not the system, it's something inside it, alive. A containment column stands behind the chair, thick, translucent, filled with a pale, misty suspension. Floating inside is a human form, or what used to be one. The body is partly submerged in synth gel, wires running through its spine and skull, eyes closed, chest barely rising. You scan the data readout. No name, no designation. Just one line pulsing in red. Protocol ghost, core pattern, rejected. She appears beside you again. You don't hear her approach. She just arrives. That one was close, she says. Too unstable, but too valuable to erase. You study the floating figure, male, early 20s, heavy cybernetic reinforcement around the brainstem. What happened to him? He resisted, not the system, but the rewrite. His body accepted the code. His mind didn't. You glance toward the chair again, and if I sit there, you're not here to overwrite, not yet. You're here to map. She steps forward, pulling a cord from a small embedded panel on the wall. It clicks into a port on the back of your neck, one you didn't even realize had opened. The sync begins instantly. Not pain, flood, memories, maps, designation flows, tactical overlays. But not just yours. His, the one in the tank. You see flashes, corridor blueprints, floor rotations, rerouted kill zones, then emotion, panic, betrayal, disbelief. You feel what he felt, just long enough to understand why he failed. He wasn't broken, he just didn't agree. You blink as the flood slows. She removes the cable. Now you know the corridors ahead, and you know they're rigged. You'll need to bypass the lateral suppression gates, she says. They'll be watching for rejection symptoms. You nod. And if I show any, they'll collapse the section, claim containment failure. And you? I'll already be gone. You meet her gaze. Why me? Because you haven't chosen a side, she says. Not fully. That's what makes you dangerous. Then she steps back into the shadows, her form dissolving behind one of the pillar walls. You're alone again, but for the first time, you feel more than watched. You feel expected. And the system is waiting to see if you'll finish what the last ghost couldn't. The stairwell behind you seals without sound. You're done with shadows. The air ahead is clearer, drier, charged with tension. Every surface gleams not with polish, but with scrutiny. You've stepped into an area not meant for testing or storage. This is active space, operational, monitored in real time. They know you're here. You trace the internal maps still burning faintly behind your eyes. The last download what you pulled from the protocol ghost didn't just give you layouts. It gave you weaknesses, reroute codes. internal blind spots. No official clearance level could access these, but you've seen the path now. You carry it in your spine. You keep low as you move, passing under beam grids disguised as ventilation. No motion sensors here, they've been replaced by thermal fused nodes that read stress pulses in airflow. Any unnatural ripple could trigger suppression drones. You count your steps. 16 meters. Then right. 4 more. Then drop. The floor shifts beneath your feet exactly where the memory said it would. A false panel, thin as a breath, gives way to a chute that slides you 3 levels lower. You land silently, knees flexed, absorbing the shock without a sound. You're in. This is the spine of the system. No lights, just the soft pulse of core conduits, bleeding pale orange glow from the walls. Power feeds stretch in braided columns up to a node you can't see. There's no obvious path forward, no signage, no doors. You press your hand to the wall and feel the vibration, a rhythm like breath, but mechanical. Synchronized, you close your eyes and let your heartbeat fall into alignment with it. The wall opens, not as a door, as a response. You enter. Inside, it's colder. The kind of cold you don't feel on your skin, but in your thoughts. This chamber doesn't want you to be emotional. It wants you precise. In the center is the algorithm. Not a person, not a machine, a structure. Suspended, rotating, wrapped in transparent strands of living data. You feel its attention before you see movement. It doesn't greet you, doesn't challenge you. It calculates your presence like a variable newly introduced into a stable formula. You approach carefully. Unknown protocol confirmed, it says. The voice is dry, neutral, deviation registered. You don't respond. Intent? Integration, you say. It pauses, not in hesitation, in assessment. Prior candidate models incomplete. Risk of convergence failure elevated. You step closer. You kept the failures alive. You studied them. You knew this path leads here. Correction, we calculated outcomes. You are an anomaly. The structure shifts slightly, exposing a console pad. You approach and place your hand down. The interface pulls your biometrics, cross-checks them with several dead files, and then halts. Designation, unassigned. Good. That means they haven't slotted you into a category yet. You're not a leader, not a weapon, not a host. You're undefined. You glance around. The room isn't sealed. It's inviting. And that's what makes it dangerous. You could sit at the console and take control, rewrite subroutines, open back channels. But if you do, you'd enter the same loop as the ones before you. The ones who tried to reshape the system from the inside, only to become part of it. Instead, you look past it. Behind the algorithm, another passage opens. Narrow, barely wide enough for a person. Not lit, not marked. It doesn't want you to see it. You take one step toward the console, then pivot and head toward the hidden corridor. The algorithm doesn't call after you, but the walls pulse faster. You've made a choice it didn't predict, and that finally is something it wasn't prepared to integrate. The corridor behind the algorithm narrows as you move deeper, pressing the air around you into silence. No sensors track your movement. No cameras observe your gait. This passage wasn't built for surveillance. It was built to be forgotten. You run your fingers along the wall. Textured alloy, not standard compound. There's warmth here, residual heat from power conduits, but also a faint pulse, almost like a heartbeat running parallel to your own. You pause once, not because of a threat, but because the air itself feels raw. Your body doesn't register fatigue. Your vitals stay stable. But your perception begins to slide. The corridor subtly curves where it shouldn't. Shadows fall where no light source exists. Time feels off slower, not from drag, but from dissonance. This space doesn't follow standard architecture. It's deliberate. It's engineered disorientation, and yet, you don't break rhythm. You've seen this kind of structure before, buried in legacy simulations. It's how they tested psychological resistance in early candidates. Push the mind without engaging the body. If you made it out coherent, you passed. You reach the end of the curve and find a hatch not sealed, not mechanical. It's etched into the wall, locked with a neuroprint interface that flares the second you raise your hand. Identify. You offer no name. The system doesn't request one. It scans your cognitive profile instead, then emits a dull chime and retracts. Beyond the hatch, everything changes. No more compound walls, no more artificial lighting. Just a circular chamber lit by suspended strands of bioluminescent wire. The air smells of ozone and something organic, not rot, growth. You step inside. At the far end, a figure waits, not armed, not armored, waiting. He doesn't rise when you approach, doesn't speak. He's seated on a raised slab, surrounded by fragments, pieces of failed rigs, broken neural caps, scorched stabilizers. You don't recognize his face, but your skin crawls. Because the air in this place remembers him, his eyes open slowly. There's no aggression, no madness, just intensity, a weight to his gaze like gravity that's chosen to notice only you. You walked past the algorithm, he says. You nod. That means it didn't stop you. It means you're already outside the protocol. You narrow your gaze. Who are you? Who I was doesn't matter, he says. What I became matters more. He lifts his arm, not flesh, not cybernetic. Something fused between. You've seen failed graphs. This isn't that. This is something refined, precise, brutal. They tried to reboot me, he says. Didn't work. I didn't resist. I learned. Nench, you step closer. What did you learn? He smiles. No warmth in it, just realization. That freedom doesn't come from surviving the system. It comes from understanding why it was built. You glance at the shattered rigs. They made you a prototype. He nods. I broke that loop. Thought that would be the end. But the system doesn't end. It adapts. So I stayed here. You're the one who corrupted the vault, you say. No, he replies. That was someone else. I only gave them the key. You pause. Why are you still here? Because someone had to wait for you. The room darkens slightly. Not from light, but tension. He rises, and you see now his movements aren't human anymore. Every step he takes is calculated, fluid, perfect. Not from training, from optimization. His body's a bridge between candidate and construct. They'll collapse this level if you don't finish what you started, he says. You clench your fists. Then tell me how. There's one last chamber, he says. It's below everything buried beneath the archives. It's not logged. It's not official. It's where they grow what they don't want the system to know exists. Grow. He nods. New minds, blank ones, ready for imprint. They're not trying to pick the best. They're building replacements. You feel the blood move faster in your chest. Replacements for who? For us, he says. He walks past you and reaches the wall. A panel shifts, revealing another spiral descent. This one is raw stone chipped into precision, not facility made, hand dug. I'll hold the gates behind you, he says. Once you pass, there's no reroute, no exit protocol. Either you finish it or you don't come back. You don't hesitate, you descend. And this time, it's not to uncover the truth, it's to confront it. The descent is slow at first. The stone under your boots feels older than the rest of the structure carved by hands, not machines. Marks of forced effort line the walls, scratches, etchings, bloodied fingerprints fossilized in the seams. Whatever was buried down here, someone wanted it found. Someone else tried to bury it deeper. You descend 33 steps. The number shouldn't matter, but it does. Some part of you, maybe the part shaped by protocols and fragments, remembers 33 as a limit, as a threshold. At the bottom, the tunnel opens into silence. No ambient hum, no surveillance beams, no system breath. You step into a chamber shaped like a root bulb narrow at the neck, expanding outward with dozens of pods arranged in slow rotation. Each one glows faintly, pulsing in rhythm. Inside them are not machines. They're human, or something close. None are awake. None are moving, suspended in nutrient gel, spines wired to ports, faces featureless, no mouths, no eyes, just soft skin still forming, minds that haven't been taught to resist or speak. You walk through them slowly, and with every step, the truth hardens. This wasn't about testing candidates. This was about iterating replacements, bodies without pasts, systems without deviation. Consciousness blank as server drives. A voice rises behind you, familiar, not spoken, but delivered through a low-frequency pulse. They've already selected your pattern. You turn. It's not the man from before, it's you. Not a perfect copy and echo, the same frame, same presence, but younger, cleaner, no scars, no weight in the eyes, a mirror of who you might have been if you had never woken up. It smiles. They've already begun printing new batches. Yours is just one of many templates. You stare at him. No fear, just calculation. Why show me this? You ask. Because you made it here. That makes you more useful awake than stored. He steps aside, revealing a final terminal embedded in the floor. It's shaped like a cradle meant for neural input, not data entry. No keys, just consequence. You can stop the next cycle, he says. Delete the blueprint, collapse the batch, but you'll burn with it. You kneel beside the interface. Or I could do nothing. And they'll keep printing you over and over until the original isn't even remembered. You press your hand to the panel. It flickers. Not in resistance, in recognition. You see it now. Every failed clone, every overwritten mind, every collapsed vault that left no trace. You weren't their first success, just their first survivor. So what's your decision? He asks. You look up at him, and for the first time he looks afraid. Not because you're violent, because you're awake. You smile, and everything goes white. You weren't chosen to win. You were built not to ask why, but you did. And now they can't unmake you.